be able to avoid getting bullied, or to be able to prepare them in life so that they understand how to deal with failures and pick themselves up again.
If you want your audience to be opening up their laptops and having their eyes glued on your emails, where they're excited to open it up and they're anticipating and they're hanging on your every word, and then finally clicking on the link to your offer, to your product, to your program, to your services, then today in this call, in this video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to a session that I recently did that can show you exactly how to do that. And if you stay till the end of this video, you'll be able to see why utilizing these techniques is going to immediately increase your click-through rate as well as your open rate. Let's begin.
Obviously, I could keep going on, right? And give you more like logic-based examples. And then towards the end, that's when you got to be able to, I've been, close to Paul, and he's going to be sending his kids, right? Migrating them to Vancouver to go for Johnny's classes. All right, and welcome everybody to this very special edition of our call here today. So what we're gonna do is, if you have a question, you're just gonna do a virtual hand raise, ask a question, whatever you feel is pertinent with regards to the thing that is either keeping you stuck, or you feel like that's the thing that's going to help you move forward. If you would like to be able to, it could be about traffic, it could be your offer, it could be about your ads. So first person we have up is, as always, Johnny Ahmed. Johnny, welcome.
Hey, so I just wanted to ask your feedback and maybe some strategies on one thing that I'm kind of struggling with, which is this is more for my virtual classes, not for the in-person. The in-person, it's easier to track everybody when they come and show because it's in face-to-face. But with the virtual, a couple of things I struggle with. One is I asked you before, is the attendance, where sometimes I don't know who showed or not unless I really go into the Zoom and I look at the things, but then that slows down everything, because if we're having people every day show up, then it's a slow process for me. And then also I want to know, after they show up and they don't do anything, but they enjoy the class, because I asked the instructor how they like it, and they say, yeah, they did great, but they're not joining. I'm wondering if I should put them in some kind of a automation that's called showed but didn't sign up. And then if I did do that, what should I put in the automation where I don't kind of bother them, at the same time I'm trying to pry out from them maybe feedback on what's stopping them from enrolling or something like that.
Cool. Okay, so the question here would be, what type of automation or follow-up process can you have in place if somebody attended some sort of presentation online or a webinar or a virtual class, but they didn't get a specific offer, right? And this would be, in this context here, the virtual class. So I always think about at the bare minimum, there must always be, a basic email sequence. So for every single sequence for our audiences, depending on your situation, whether it is signed up but didn't show up, showed up and attended, or didn't buy, but they or if they bought, and what's next. So it's very similar as a retargeting ad, and we will always have something that acknowledges them for the step that they did. So in this case here would be, I hope you enjoyed the session that we did earlier today. One of the things that we did at the training is we talked about how if you want to have long-term sustainable results, to be able to join us at this next level, fill in the blanks name, right? And for some reason, we noticed that you have not taken action yet, and we're wondering why. So one thing to kind of think about for all sequences, okay, and this applies to all of you, is I train my team to have all three angles, which is, it's always emotion, logic, scarcity. I would like all of you to write down these three words, okay? Whenever you have no idea how to follow up with any type of sequence or lead or buyer or webinar attendee, just ask yourself, well, how can I have a very simple emotion, logic, scarcity follow-up? And if you think about every good pitch, every good presentation, it actually follows this sequence as well, right? In a webinar, when you tell stories, what is the stories supposed to do if you do it well? It is supposed to tap into emotion, and which is one of the biggest reasons why people buy. So this is to tackle the people that's right brain, right? People who is making decisions based on emotion, right? So when that's the first one. right? So whether it is significance, whether it's fear, whether it is drive, whether it's hunger, whether it's motivation, some sort of feeling, right? Emotion. So if a person does not take action, then chances are it's because they're a lot more left brain, right? They're a lot more analytical. They're thinking about, well, logically, if I should do this, right? And logically, that's when you're talking about the numbers, right? What would it cost you if you did take action? What would it cost you if you didn't take action? What are the other alternatives out there, right? This is very logic based, right? And why logically to do this would be the most logical investment, the most logical training, the most logical thing that you can do for either yourself or in your case here, your kids. Okay, logic. Now, again, if you think about a pitch or a presentation, it's the same thing, right? Logic, that's when you have the stack and you have different closes, which is like, if all this did was just this one result, would it be worth this amount, right? That's a logic-based close, right? If all this did was to be able to save, 10% on returns and to give you, to save 10% on your overheads, or Johnny, in your case here, if all this did was to help your kid build more confidence in school, or to be able to avoid getting bullied, or to be able to prepare them in life so that they understand how to deal with failures and pick themselves up again, or to develop a certain discipline in life so that they will be able to take on anything when they grow up, right? Would that be worth it? Now that's based on logic, right? Oh yeah, logically, right? Logically, right? As a parent, you're going to be buying all these toys and investing in your kids anyway. Why not invest in something on a skill set that prepares them for life, right? That's logic as well, right? Logically, you're going to be spending this money on your kid anyway, okay? Logic. So as I'm going through these bullet points with Johnny, I would like, again, right? This is how this applies to all of you. You got to ask yourself in your pitch, in your ads, in your follow-up sequences, do you have a logical follow-up after emotion? Because emotion is always the most powerful one. Emotion is when you do a pitch, right? When you say, okay, for the first X amount of people, for those people who make the investment right now, these are the people that's running to the tables, right? These are people that's clicking add to cart, right? And then there's logic. Logic is when there's the smaller audience, okay? Usually, the audience would be under 50%, more than 50% would usually be emotion-based. But there must be a compelling reason for a person to act now, right? So if a person is sold by emotion and logic, and if they're still not taking action in your email sequence, you got to be able to, in one way, shape, or form, have some sort of thing that shows them why they need to take action now. So this could be bonuses. Okay, you can write down bonuses, write down price points. How can I make it painful if they don't take action now? Or scarcity can also be not just the cost of taking action, but the cost of not taking action, right? Every single day that you're delaying on taking action, here's what this is costing you in life. Here's what this is costing your kid in life. This is what's costing your business as a result of paying inflated ad costs. This is a result of, this is what's costing you in your business when you are not handling your retention on the turnover of your employees, right? You got to be able to show them not just the cost of taking action, but the cost of not taking action. So that is when at the end, to close out any promo, any email sequence, you see what most people do is, most amateur marketers, they go straight into either logic or scarcity, which is hurry, limited time off only, buy one, get one free, or hurry while stocks last, or hurry, 20% off, 50% off, whatever it might be. That's scarcity. But scarcity is only used to close out a specific campaign, not to start one. Okay. So if I want to create a follow-up email sequence, right? Whether it's a 3 email sequence, a 5 email sequence, a 6 email sequence. And for those of you that is thinking, well, is there a specific number? How many emails should I, right? That's again, a very analytical question. It's just about, understanding how to cover the different angles. Next one could be purely emotional based. The third one could be logically, here's why you should do it. The fourth one, right? Logically, here's what this is going to cost you in life or in your business or in your relationships, right? If you did it, if you didn't do it, what's logic? So an example could be, let's say Johnny's fourth email is titled best case versus worst case. And then now it's been 5 days in since you attended my free training, and I noticed that somehow you haven't joined us for the next level. Hey, this is Johnny here, and today I just wanted to talk about your best case scenario versus worst case scenario. We've established right up this moment that ultimately martial arts is not about learning learning for your kid to learn how to defend themselves, but something that's much more than that. You're not paying for martial arts. You're teaching your kid on how to build up a level of discipline in life to achieve any type of mastery. We've established that martial arts is not about just self-defense, but understanding and teaching kids how to deal with failure and picking themselves up again every single time they fall. And that's why in the closeout sequence, there must be, it's now, so it could be like, it's now or never, right? What's it costing you life not taking action right now? Class is about to begin. We're going to close off the intake. There must be some sort of reason for them to act now. And the more painful you can make it if they don't act now, the better the close campaign would be. And that is why, if you do this well, you'll actually notice that most of the signups is usually, whenever you launch anything new, it is usually right when you open cart, because that's when everybody's like, oh man, I've been waiting for this, the most awesome thing ever, right? Emotion. That's when they sign up. And your next wave of customers influx whenever you have any type of launch is when you're closing it off. But most of the time, marketers, they don't have any type of compelling reason to act. And that's why, if there's no urgency, most people, don't do anything. Johnny, thoughts, feedback based on this?
This is great. I just wanted to make sure I understand. For emotion, did you say for emotion, it's more like the first 10 people? Is that what emotion is?
No. In fact, if you think about the pitch earlier, the angle, it's logic because it's like best case versus worst case. But notice what I'm still doing is my languaging focuses on emotion. It's like, and what would that be? That would be like, the emotion is, I want to be able, responsibility, right? I want to be able to play my role as a parent, to be able to, it's my duty, right? To make sure that I'm setting them up for success, right? Emotion it could be significance. It could be, think about like, what are the different emotional triggers? And usually, emotional triggers are very primal. If you think about emotion, like it could be like rejection, right? If it's like negative ones, it could be rejection, betrayal, disapproval, criticism, feeling unwanted, helplessness, loss of control. Now, if you think about all these different things, all these emotions can be associated to some sort of story in order to arrive at your offer, right? Now, that would be like an example of an emotional trigger that can be linked to your offer, right? So it could be anger, it could be anxiety, and that's what it means by emotion. It's utilizing those words and integrating it with some sort of lesson or story so that a person can see why martial arts is going to be a great way to either alleviate some of the pain involved in that emotion or linking it to a positive one. Okay, so it's both negative and positive. So positive for martial arts, it could be satisfaction, understanding how to, or a sense of achievement, right? Because now martial arts is, understanding like milestones in life, right? From yellow belt to blue belt to brown belt to black belt, right? And understanding how to have these different milestones is going to give, it could be discipline. So that would be the positive ones. And I would say that more often than not, understanding how to utilize negative emotion and solving the problems associated to negative emotion is going to be far more powerful than going towards positive ones, because ultimately, most human beings are wired to only take action to go away from pain rather than towards joy. Okay, and that's why most people are stuck in this thing called the comfort zone, because it's not painful enough for them to create change, and they're not motivated enough to create change either. Emotion is when you're constantly bouncing between these negative ones and positive ones as well, and integrating it with your lessons or stories in your marketing. Cool, Johnny?
Yeah. So you're just saying like basically tell a story that has, makes the emotion inside of them.
Or remember, stories could be personal. It could be lessons. It could be observations. It could be things that you notice that's happening around you in society, pop culture, Hollywood. So this is when you can utilize these different angles, right? You know, in previous implementation hours, we talk about this as well, utilizing stories. But yes, that's what I mean. So Johnny, what you'll need to do, along with the rest of you, if you guys, just by listing down these three things, emotion, logic, and scarcity, really try to drill down and ask yourself, like, in my follow-up email sequences, in my retargeting ads, in my pitch, in my presentations, how often am I tackling all these three angles, and how can I include these different elements in my follow-up process? And remember, you don't have to overanalyze it. It doesn't mean that in your first email sequence, you know, you're going, oh, Peng Joon told me that the first one has got to be emotion-based, so this sounds more logical. No, I mean, you know, ultimately it's all about understanding how to tackle all three angles, right? So usually begins with emotion, justify and back it up, the decision with logic, and then after that you close out with some sort of scarcity or compelling reason to act now. Cool, Johnny?
Yep.
Okay, very nice.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes to this coaching call. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is. And as always, be sure to smash the like button. It does help the channel out a little bit. And to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified of future videos just like this one. Now, some of you asking me, how can I be part of this process? How can I ask you questions? How can I have you coach me or mentor me? We want to make sure that we are working with the people that's the right fit. You'll need to fill up a form. There's a link right below this video. Somebody on my team might give you a call to interview you to see if they're right fit for each other. And if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit, then all you need to do is click on this link in the description box below and my team will be in touch with you.